Hello everyone! I'm starting a new video series about decision making, especially about cognitive biases that can affect most paragliders. The first bias I want to talk about is confirmation bias. Paragliding is one of the most exciting experiences you can have, but it also requires making quick and accurate decisions at all times. What many people don't realize is that sometimes our minds can play tricks on us, leading us to make serious mistakes without even noticing. One of the biggest culprits is what's known as confirmation bias, a psychological phenomenon that affects the way we interpret information and pushes us to confirm what we already believe, ignoring everything else. What does this mean for a paraglider? In this video, I'll explain it with real examples and give you tips to avoid falling into this mental trap called confirmation bias. First, let's define what it is. It's the tendency we all have to seek only information that confirms our beliefs or expectations while ignoring or minimizing any data that contradict them. Imagine you're convinced that a flight route is safe because it has always worked well for you in the past. Even though the sky shows signs that conditions are changing, you decide not to pay attention. Why? Because your mind focuses only on the details that confirm what you already believe, that this route is safe. This bias is common in many aspects of life, but in paragliding, it can be especially dangerous, leading us to make poor decisions based on incomplete or biased information. Learning to manage this bias will also help us handle it in other areas of our lives. So, recognizing and mastering it is both important and useful. Examples of confirmation bias in paragliding. Let's see some real-life examples. Imagine you're on a mountain, ready to take off. When you arrived, you checked the wind direction and everything seemed perfect. However, as you prepare, the wind starts to shift slightly. But you stay focused on the first information you gathered. You decide to take off, convinced that the wind is still good. But the moment you lift your wing, you realize the wind is now crosswind, causing you to have a tricky takeoff, or worse, an incident. Another common example happens during cross-country flights. You're searching for thermals and suddenly see a cumulus cloud forming, or you spot other paragliders climbing. You immediately head toward that direction. However, the thermal has already disappeared. If you fall into confirmation bias, you'll interpret any small sign as proof that the thermal is still there, when in reality, it's gone. This also happens a lot with pilots who choose a specific brand of wing. They love it at first, so they stick with that brand forever. There are many great brands, but some pilots focus only on the positives of their preferred brand, ignoring any negatives, missing out on potentially better options for their needs. The same happens with glider classifications. Advanced pilots often believe that a Class C or D wing will give them better performance and longer flights. They gather all the information that supports this belief, but they fail to see that sometimes a high B wing could give them even better performance or more enjoyable flights. Confirmation bias prevents them from seeing the bigger picture, making them focus only on the positives of flying a high-performance wing. How to avoid confirmation bias. So, how can we avoid this mental trap? Here are some key strategies. First, always look for information that contradicts what you believe. When evaluating a situation, ask yourself, what could go wrong? This question forces you to consider other scenarios and helps you maintain a more objective perspective. Second, always consult other pilots or your instructor if you have doubts. A second opinion can make all the difference because another person may see things that you're not noticing. Third, stay alert to changes in the environment. Paragliding conditions can shift rapidly. Learn to reassess constantly without clinging to your first impression. Fourth, use checklists before takeoff and during flight. Checklists are a great tool for staying focused and reducing the risk of impulsive decisions. In paragliding, as in life, our decisions can mean the difference between an unforgettable experience and a serious scare. Confirmation bias is just one of many factors that can affect our decision-making process. But now you know how to identify it, and more importantly, how to avoid it. Remember, flying safely is not just about technical skills. It's also about thinking clearly and objectively. If you liked this video and want to learn more about psychology applied to paragliding and strategies for safe flying, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. See you in the next video.